Thank you for joining me today at A Touch of Blue Studio with Drawing with Grandma. Welcome back to this next demonstration of basic drawing skills. I am starting a new illustration board, and you can see that I've begun the shape of this little squirrel with a big oval body and then an oval head, and then connected them with the an anatomical structure of the leg and the shoulders and place the ears. And now I'm beginning the pencil techniques and to build some of the form and the details with my pencil. So first I want to make sure that I have that head and face and the placement of the features, the ears and eyes and nose correctly before I do anything else, because that will keep me from having to fix the drawing later. So I want to, I think I have his head placed correctly and I have the structure of it. So what I'm going to begin with is now getting a lot of the dark areas placed in, and that will help confirm my drawing a bit. And as I work, as I've done many times when I do animals, is that I place my strokes with my pencil or my brush in the direction of the particular form and design of the animal's fur and hair or feathers. And in this case, the light is hitting him from the top left a bit. And it's not a real strong light, but there is some shadow on him underneath the right side. And so I want to be sure to kind of hint of the light hitting his top left leg and back and the top of his head. And then the more shadowed areas are on the right side. So I'm going with a blender now. I've established a overall tone over his whole body. And now I'm using a blender to kind of smooth out some of those marks and to just soften them. I don't really like harsh pencil marks. Some artists do. I like soft and blended, and then I like to use the stronger marks with my graphite over the basic drawing structure. So I'm going to go with the blender, then I'll come back in, of course, with my pencil lines to build some of the texture that I want to create on his form and on the tree. He's actually climbing a tree and peeking around this branch. And so I'm going to begin building the tree, but I need to make sure his feet are correctly placed before I can do the details. So he's got a little bit of a shadow cast there on the tree branch. And now I want to build the texture of the bark, and to try to make it a little bit interesting. We've done so many drawings, I know, in these last couple months when I started this channel of animals in their habitat, but I didn't do much of the background or the environment. And so I'm going to start doing that more with a lot of my drawings and paintings, is to try to finish the whole surface of the image we're creating and place our people or animals or objects in the context that they're in. And that'll just give us more practice with other kinds of surfaces and textures and techniques. So you can see that I'm building a tone under the branch, and then building some kind of design and formal structure to the bark. And that will help to create a more interesting drawing, but also to put him in a context and place him in his home. So I am working with a pencil now that is 4B, and it helps to lay in the darkest tones that I want to create here. And then I can just go to my blender and soften anything. And then I can switch it out also to lighter pencils and create the lighter hairs with softer and more subtle changes in the value. I also want to be careful to just draw well and make sure that the unique characteristics of this animal are shown, and that I'm not trying to create my own, but using the resource to really identify what makes this animal unique and recognizable to the viewer. You'll remember that your eraser is a drawing tool. It isn't just to get rid of mistakes, but also to re-emphasize the light and getting rid of areas that might conflict with the light and dark contrast you're after. I love catching animals with this expression, which is just a peaceful look, but also, hey, what are you doing in my space, is what they're saying. And what are you going to do in my space? So it's just a cute expression of curiosity, but also caution. And a lot of the animals that I do, I try to catch that expression. This little foot needs to be correctly done. I'm going to darken the tone and try to cast a shadow underneath his foot so it looks a little bit more natural as it sets there. And then just work on this beautiful flow of hair, create some lines, textures, and to re-emphasize his body resting on that branch and kind of capturing him in a energetic moment where he's pausing. Now I'm just going to add a little bit of detail on his head and try to make that the focal point. Get those beautiful little hairs and those little patterns. His eye is very dark except for that nice little glare on top. And then we'll add a few whiskers. And I might come back to him at a later time. I try not to outline my animals, but to use value and texture and pencil techniques to create the form within. But here he is, pencil study of this squirrel. I'm going to begin a study of a swan and her little cygnets. I think I want to do this study in either watercolor or chalk pastel, so I'm kind of deciding that. But first I want to get the surface ready and get the structure of the drawing. So you can see again that I've placed the oval for the head in the position and the angle that his head is formed, and it's kind of a unique shape for that beak to bring out of the head shape. That neck has to be right in order for it to look like a swan. Again, the body is a nice oval, and so I need to work on that shape. This little baby is right in front of the mama there, so I'm going to try to get that signet placed there. And I do need to enlarge her a little bit. Enlarge that tail, add a little bit more unique form to her body now. Okay, let's do 2 more little signets. Put one right here, and this one will be looking down in the water. The beak will be a little bit in the water there. It's an oval body, oval head, and you just have to concentrate on the positioning of that oval. And I'm doing a third one over here. I'm sorry, it's a little bit off the frame. When we work on this later, I will fix that positioning. Then there's a beautiful reflection of this mama there, and we will be sure to develop the water in this particular image. I'm going to try to make sure that I have this head formed correctly as I decide which medium to do the final work in. But I wanted you to see the beginning stages, and we will follow up in the next video with the continuation of this study of the swan and signets. You can comment and let me know what medium you would prefer before I decide. Either watercolor or chalk pastel. Thank you for joining me today at A Touch of Blue Studio with Drawing and Painting with Grandma.